when they're given to you. They're usually in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. In other words, if you were given an equation 3x squared plus 5x plus 1 equals 0, the a would be 3, the b would be 5, and the c would be 1. You have to be careful with these though, because sometimes they'll have negative values. You might have 3x squared minus 2x plus 5 equals 0. In that case, my a would be equal to 3, my b would be equal to negative 2, and my c would be equal to 5. So it's not that tricky. Only thing that can give you a little trouble there is making sure that you get your negative values in. Now, keeping this in mind, let's take a look at the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula simply says if I have an equation in that form that x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times ac all over 2 times a. Now, don't make this harder than what it is. Let's say we had an equation 3x squared minus 14x minus 5 equals 0. The first thing that we need to do is to identify our a, b, and c. We can see that a is 3, b is equal to negative 14, and c is equal to negative 5. Now all we have to do is plug those values into this equation, this formula. So x is going to equal negative b. Now b, remember, is negative 14, so I actually have a negative 14 plus or minus the square root of b squared. B is negative 14 squared minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is negative 5. Pull my radical on out there. Now I have 2 times a, 2 times 3. Let's see what we get here. Now remember, a negative is a positive. So I'm going to have a positive 14 there. I keep writing in red down here. 14 plus or minus the square root. Now negative 14 is negative 14 times negative 14. If you use your calculator on that, you'll get a positive 196. Now here's another place you need to be careful. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. And then negative 12 times negative 5 is a positive 60. Okay? In the denominator, I have 2 times 3, which is 6. So I'm going to have 14 plus or minus the square root. 196 plus 60 is 256. All over 6. I'm going to need to use my calculator again to find out what the square root of 256 is. So I'm going to have 14 plus or minus the square root of 256 is 16 over 6. Now, it's important to note here, I'm going to be doing both of these. I'm going to switch to a different color. This plus or minus tells me that I have to do both. So I have 14 plus 16 over 6. And I have 14 minus 16 over 6. 14 plus 16 is 30. And 30 over 6 is equal to 5. over here I have 14 minus 16, which is negative 2. Negative 2 over 6. If I simplify that, that is negative 1/3, because 2 goes into 2 one time and 2 goes into 6 3 times. So my answers are 5 and negative 3. Now you can check both of those by inserting 5 back in for x and trying that and verifying that it equals 0, or putting negative 1/3 in for x and trying that, and they will both work. So using the quadratic formula, you need to understand first what your a, b, and c are, and then simply plug it into the formula. The only thing that can throw you off, again, is you must understand if it has a negative value, you have to include that.